Our needs for this project are very simple. We need our paper that's been taped down to our board. We'll need a pencil. We'll need a Sharpie marker. We don't want the ultra fine, we want the fine one. It's the one that looks like this. I also printed out some Easter egg coloring pages, and what I did was I printed the eggs out small so that I would have some inspiration for the eggs. I took my coloring page printouts and I made a template for my eggs to trace, and I just traced that onto the cover of a sketchbook that was empty. I just cut out the egg, traced it onto this so that I have something a little more durable to trace on this. I also have watercolor pencils and some water and a brush to use for the water. I also have my palette of pan watercolors to do my background. I could also do those with my pencils if I wanted to. So let's get started. If you have a whole size sheet of paper, you may want to do more of the big ones. And if you have a half size one, you may want to do more small ones. What we're going to do is we're going to use our pencil first to trace our eggs. And I'm going to decide where I want my egg. And I think I like it right there. I'm going to do a big one here. I don't have to do all big ones. And I don't have to do all small ones. I can choose. That slid. Now that I've traced that egg, I think I'm only going to do one large one on this one. Next, I'm going to figure out where I want other eggs at. And I want to make sure that when I'm doing my second egg and my third egg, that I decide which one's on the top and which one's on the bottom. Well, this one is obviously in the front because I've got a whole outline for it. So when I do this one, I'm going to start where that one has a line. And I'm going to make sure that I stop when I get to the line there. That little bit there, I can just erase that. And this is why we aren't doing the Sharpie marker first. I'll put this one, I'm going to leave a little space right there. Oh, a little space between there. And so now I want to make sure that I avoid this egg, because this one that I'm putting on is going to be in the very back. So I've gone from the front to the middle to the back. If you have a bigger paper, it'll be a lot easier to do a more intricate design. And I think that'll be good for me. The next thing I'm going to do is take my Sharpie marker and outline my eggs. Now I'm ready to design my eggs. I could choose to just take one and make a copy of it exactly, or I can kind of freehand it. I think I want to just freehand it. And I think I'm happy with that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to decide what color I want my background. My background is probably going to be a green and blue color. So I'm going to use other colors to do my eggs. I'm going to take my watercolor pencil. If you're using watercolor pencils for the first time, you don't want to color straight up and down so that it's got really sharp marks. If you take your pencil, you can hold it on its side like this and color smooth, the color will come off really nice and even when you add your water to it. If I color more in one area like this, I will have more pigment there and it'll be a little bit darker there when I go to add my water. Now, if you want to finish up with your background with your watercolor pencils, you can. If you plan to use the pan palette, you'll want to wait to do that until last. But if you're going to do the watercolor pencils, go ahead and color your background now. The paintbrush that I'm going to use now is a smaller paintbrush. I can just make the point a little bit smaller just by putting it in the water. I'm going to start with my light areas first, so I'm going to start with the yellows. And I'm just going to go through and add that water right on top of it. And it's going to smooth that color out. I'm going to use very little water at a time and be patient with it. If I missed a spot that looks kind of white, the paint will spread to that. At this point, if you went ahead and did the watercolor pencil on your background, you can go ahead and switch to a larger brush. That'll help you cover your area a little bit faster. I'm going to pull out my little pan here and get my brush wet. I'm just going to start painting my background. Add a little extra water to it to spread it a little bit further. Add a darker green here. Let it blend together. I think I'm done. Now I can take off my tape and sign it, and I will have a beautiful work of art for Easter.